Hey Vishal, welcome to Content Kettle.
Hey, Vanishka, thank you. Thanks for having me.
For those of you who haven't had a chance to meet Vishal yet, he is actually the founder of Friction Studio, a Shopify web design, development, and conversion optimization agency for e-commerce businesses. They have been working with some of the leading brands across the globe and have a vast experience in what it takes to build a web design that fuels marketing and conversions, which means actual business growth. But I did love for Vishal to tell us a little more about Friction Studios and what goes on in the work there.
Sure. So, hey, I'm Vishal, founder and CEO at Friction Studio. Friction Studio is a full service agency that specializes in designing and developing high converting Shopify stores.
And what is it do you mean by high converting Shopify stores?
It means the stores that are optimized for higher conversion, for increasing sales and reducing the bounce rate.
Mm-hmm. So to kind of move towards our topic, which is exactly conversion rate, I did like to ask, how important is this metric? Everybody talks about, setting up an online store. Everybody talks about having great design for their online store. How important do you think is conversion rate as a metric at this very point?
Yeah. So the first of all, conversion rate metric is the number of conversions divided by the total interactions or the total visitors you get. That is conversion rate. And conversion rate is really very important because if you can double your conversion rate, it can double your revenue because revenue is multiplication of traffic, conversion rate, and average order value. So this is the most crucial part of the whole thing, the whole business. So it's really very important.
So, Vishal, in most of our previous episodes, right, we've had experts and even brand founders talk to us about various marketing tactics, right, and how they drive traffic to the website. But if you take a look at statistics, it typically says that most online stores see only a conversion rate of about 2 to 5%. Now, considering the amount of time and the money brands spend online to drive traffic to their website, that conversion rate is very low. Why do you think that is the case?
Yeah, because if you see the average conversion rate for Shopify stores is right now 1.5%. That is the average for all. And the top 20% of the brands on Shopify, they have the conversion rate of 3.5% or 4% maximum. So the higher end is around 4 to 5%. The lower end is around 1 to 1.5%. And the reason behind this, a lot of aspects for the conversion rate, because it plays the role of the design, development, the functionality they use, marketing, and a lot of other aspects in case like UI design, they follow the trend, everything that matters a lot.
So why do you think design is so important for a good conversion rate? Because everybody thinks that design is only from a branding perspective, right? Everybody thinks that, what the design looks like is going to show what the brand looks like. But nobody really connects design to conversions. So how would you explain that?
Design is like we found of aesthetics, that like whenever we visit a website or even a physical store, we get attracted by the design. In a physical store, we get attracted by the look and feel. We trust the store by that because we are physically there. But in online store, the website plays the role of physical store. So for that, you need to implement the great design. So people can trust you, and that shows the credibility of the brand. And in case like if I'm there and I'm having a good experience scrolling through a website, then I will be there on the website. I will spend more time, so it will reduce in bounce rate as well. So that automatically increases in engagement and add to carts, and then later on in conversion rate. So that's why design is really very important in terms of UI or UX both.
So in the end, it's more about design having a very big impact on how we look and feel a brand, but virtually because we can't see it and touch it
Yeah,
physically at a
exactly.
store. Understood.
Yeah.
Okay, so based on your experience, right, when you say design, UI, and UX, what are some of the tips and UI patterns, right, you recommend following for having higher conversions?
Yeah, sure. So nowadays, I see that there are many brands who are entering the market. What they do actually, they copy or they imitate the other brands, the competitors, and they try to implement more creative designs in their store. But that's not good actually, because if you can implement the creative design can be good for the designer or for just for the looks, but the usability is not there with the creative design. So you need to follow the standard of web design and the familiar pattern, in the design, like you need to follow the Z pattern. Like for when a visitor comes to the website, they look at the top left, and then the top right, then bottom left, bottom right. So this is the Z pattern actually. So you need to follow for the images, for the sections. You need to place where you need to place the section and the content. Other than that, you need to take care of the negative space between that. Otherwise, you will just if you overwhelm the whole website with the content only, then people won't be able to read, and that will result in bounce rate, mainly increasing in bounce rate, because they will left the website because they don't know, like they can't read the whole stuff, all those things. But some of the things in UI, I would say the clear call to action should be there. Navigation and user flow should be very clear and simple, because if you are having 100 products or 200 products, or if you are having a lot of inventory, and there are the number of products is too much, then you need a clear navigation and also the search functionality. Because if the retention is there, if the people are coming from email, if the people are coming from SMS, then they want to buy the same product they bought before. So that's why for the retention, you need to have a simple search functionality, so they can just search and they can get the product. Otherwise, you need a good navigation flow as well. Content limit should be there. Word limit should be there. You can describe the description in just few bullet points rather than having the full paragraph. Also, in the CPG or in CBD industry, I see that people explain all the ingredients in paragraphs, but that's not necessarily important, because you can just put the ingredients in just few PNG images and you can put the name only there. So that's all. This is how you can minimize the content, and people can also have a good experience to understand the whole thing in just one place. Other than that, for UX, I have some other suggestions, like the page speed should be lower. Like the store should load in under 3 seconds, and because otherwise, like most of the, like 46% of the visitors will leave the website if the website is loading in like 6 7 seconds or 10 seconds. If it's taking more time, then it will automatically increase the bounce rate. So other than that, in the UX, checkout process is really very important. You need a very simple and fast checkout process. When I click on it to cart, that should be, we should have a Ajax card drawer. When I click on it to cart, the card drawer should come, and then I can, if I want to pick other products, that should be the products. Then I can directly go to checkout. So the checkout process also should be easy and fast. Uh, Other than that, after checkout, I think, like when you get into checkout, then many stores have guest login. That is good. But if you put if you require a login, then that would be a hurdle, or that would be a friction between the sale, because many people don't want to log in and put their data for my account, creating account and all that. So you shouldn't put that initially. Later on, you can have in the subscription model or something like that, but initially you don't require that. And last one thing which I see, which is very important, smaller brands who is having like 5 10 products, it's totally fine with them. But I'm working with some of the bigger enterprises as well, and also working with brands who is having 10,000 SKUs and all. So what the main mistake they made is the navigation flow that they have. So the first thing we do is clearing, the whole thing, the links, what are the important links, where people are clicking, what is required on the website, and everything. So you need to clean up the navigation and put a proper navigation flow so people can find what they are looking for. Otherwise they will lost and they will leave the website. So that is more important, which is the navigation flow. Yeah.
So stemming from your answer, right, I have a follow-up question on the same. According to your answer, it's all about making the entire shopping journey really easy for a buyer, right? But
Yes.
today, like the importance of collecting, let's say, consumer data is leading to brands really increasing the number of steps. Like, for example, I think I've seen multiple number of times that if you really want to make a purchase, they nudge you to now sign up for an account or at least share an email address, if nothing else, right? Then there are other aspects that they're implementing on the site, which essentially are to kind of encourage a behavioral flow on the website so that they can understand different data in terms of what product were you looking for, what other products are of your interest, etc. So a lot of conversion aspects have started to get implemented there. So if you had to recommend, right, if you had to recommend the ease of shopping to a buyer versus a brand focusing on collecting information on a website alone, what would you recommend the brand following, or what should be priority for a brand here in this case?
All the things are important, I know, and I think, like, when you are taking something, you should give something. So
Mhm.
it means, like, if you are taking email ID, then you should put a coupon code or any discount you can put there. Like, let's say, if you are targeting a cold audience, I'm coming to your website, then I should have, like, if you want to take my email ID, then you should put a offer there. Otherwise, just taking the email ID with the newsletter thing and offer promotion doesn't make sense at all. And uh, and doing, actually, while going through the checkout process, taking an email is, I think, enough, rather creating an account and putting that hurdle in the checkout process. That is, I think, more important, because you are providing a solution, you are giving your product to the customer, and the value of the product, the value of the brand. If customer have the problem, they're gonna have that, actually they're gonna have the product, and they can, and the main thing is to give them a best experience while checking out, while browsing through the products and adding to the cart and everything. So I think these are the main factor to providing the value to the customer and the product itself. So you don't need to nudge, and I think you don't need to send a lot of emails and a lot of things, because I have the experience with the brands. They send me a lot of emails, messages, and calls too, but the product is shit, actually, because I used a lot of products, health, fitness products, and all, and the product is shit. I will email them like, I used your products and this is shit. Still, they will email me. So it doesn't make sense. You need to work on the first thing, which is the value proposition you are putting out. Then later on, it's all easy.
Now that we have that out of the way, a lot of our listeners actually are people who are looking up to bigger brands and learning from their experiences. So when we say web design for branding versus web design for marketing alignment, right? What is your take on it? Should these two things be separate, or should these two things be joined? Like there should be some sort of a sync here.
Okay, so you mean web design for conversion and web design for branding, right?
Yeah, like completely for branding. I mean, I've had a look at websites that are simply, and you can just look at them and be like, okay, the usability is not great, but they've tried to position it in terms of branding, in a very complex manner. While it helps them with the branding, I doubt it helps them with the conversions, because it's just not user friendly. To be very honest, it takes like almost 5 minutes to move to checkout. So I think that's too long already. So what is your take on it in terms of, aligning branding and marketing efforts on a web design?
I think both the things are important, and for any brand who is coming to the industry and they are just starting out, I think conversion is really very important for them, and also establishing as a brand. So so there is a rule, you should have the design and the strategy first. It means like the branding strategy that you have. What is your brand actually? What kind of problem you want to solve? So in our case, when a brand come to us, they say, okay, we need to create a design like this and that, a sick design, a really great design, creative design, this and that. So I always ask a lot of questions to them, like why you want that kind of design, because if you don't have that answer, then we won't be able to help you. Because when we are designing a store, a website, we are solving a problem there, right? So I want to know the problem that you have, and then we're going to solve that. So in case branding and conversion, branding part is there with the supporting thing, to the customer. Like a customer is coming to the product page, they should know what is the offer, what is the product, what kind of problem it's solving, because customer gonna connect with the solution first, not the brand directly. If you are putting colors, design, UI element, supporting element, a lot of things there, like customer don't want those things. A designer can, but customer don't want those things. Customer want the solution, right? The product they are looking for. So they want to know more about the product and what kind of solution that can give to them. So that's why conversion thing is very important. User centric design is important rather than a creative thinker design. Because if I am a designer, I can put a design and I can get an award on awards, or maybe on Behance or a Dribble. But for a user, he will say like, I don't even understand this design actually. What is it? I can't use it actually. So if you can't, like, that is not for the creative thinkers. That is not for the creative designers. That is for the user who can who just know the scroll. They can click on the button. The few things they know that. That's why. That's why it's important to put a user-centric design. That is obviously a conversion-based design. That's why we say a conversion-based design or a conversion-centric design and user-centric design both are same actually, because we are convincing the user actually. We are not convincing a creative thinker or a brand designer or anyone. So that's why it's important. And in the most of the cases, brands don't look at that actually. They look at the creative side. They say, oh, this kind of functionality, that kind of functionality we need. We need this kind of application and this kind of design. You have designed this. Can you design this for us too? Like I like this design for them, and their brand is completely different from yours. The niches are very different. So that's why we do research and strategy first, because that is very important. And to know the competition, how people are, doing reviews of those products, what kind of credibility of the product in the market. So all things are important. But at the end, I think user-centric design is more important than the branding. Is this otherwise? I think this can be hard for a branding team, because I see that even my branding team, they look at color, creativity more than the user. But later on, I need to do those things to break down how user we gonna use that design, and that's why I break down all design, and we redesign it many times. So this is how it works. Yeah.
So, follow-up question on this again, because you said that, before you get into really setting up your online store, you actually have a complete call with the merchant or the brand to understand their market and then create a web design strategy. So, what do you recommend in your experience? Are the 5 to 6 things that a brand should have in place when they are just getting started with their web design, or when they are reaching out to an expert like you for their web design?
I think I have answered this question, isn't it?
Sort of, yes, but still, just to break it down into like 5 things that maybe a founder or a brand marketer should kind of have in place before reaching out to you. Because I do know that, you know,
Yeah,
when they reach out, they are like more dependent on you, but there are some answers that they should come with.
yeah, sure. So actually, I always need a brand strategy first, because if you don't know why you exist, it doesn't make sense to come to anyone, I would say, even to the content marketing team, even to the marketing, anybody actually, because you should have a brand strategy in place first. So you know that what is the product, what is the solution mainly. Otherwise, many people come to me and they say, "Hey, this product is working, so can you build a site for me as well?" So that product is working for somebody else actually. Do you even know like what is that product, what kind of audience it has? So I always need a brand strategy first, and other than that, usually we need brand guidelines too, like logo, labels, product labels, design, and everything. Then we start our initial web design strategy, and we start with UI UX mainly. But yeah, before that, we also do the research and strategy. So our process is simple: strategy and research and strategy. Then we do UI UX design, and then development and quality assurance. So these are the 3 4 steps we do. So before that, we always need a brand strategy and a guideline from their branding team. They have. If they don't have a branding team, then we help them to do that. Otherwise, but yeah, in the basis, we need a brand strategy. If that is a redesign, then the whole thing would be different, because you are having a design right now. Then we're gonna have sort of questions like, why do you need a redesign? Why do you think actually? And what kind of problem you want to solve with a new design. So all those things will come in. But yeah, these are the basic things. But and other than that, in terms of resources and the assets we need is product photography. They should have that. Or high quality product photos. Logo design and all those things are already coming in brand guidelines, and content copywriting, because we don't do copywriting. They should have somebody who can do copywriting or content, because that is another thing, you know. That's why many times people don't understand that. They just put it out like, okay, you can write the content and all, but they don't understand the power of content. The words are more important than the design. So that's why. So we always need that too, and yeah, these are the basic things we need.
uh, you know, like a question that comes from some one thing that you mentioned, right? So a lot of brands come to you saying that we did like a copy of an XYZ brand, or we want to have a similar design as an XYZ brand. Platforms like Shopify, BigCommerce, or even for that matter, even Elementor, right? If we take a look at it, there are way too many free themes available. Uh, Controversial question, but still, what is your opinion on using these ready to use customizable free themes versus either using a premium theme that comes with more customizations or building something from absolute scratch? How does it impact one, your branding? Two, how does it impact the conversions?
I think if somebody is coming to Shopify and they're just starting out, then I would recommend to go with a theme. They can buy a premium theme, always buy a premium theme, or always buy a free theme, Shopify only. You shouldn't buy any theme from Element or Invato or anything, because they're gonna break down. And I have this experience actually, because I have used many themes, and those themes not having full support from the theme team, and the pricing is lower. I know that, like $50 $60 coming there, but rather you can use a free theme. Shopify is providing a great theme, and the thing is, the theme from Invite or any platform, they are not following a theme architecture there, which is Shopify is following, and Shopify is, approving those things. So a Shopify support is also there. So I recommend Shopify free themes or premium. If you have good budget, then the premium themes are really great to starting out. But if you are in middle of something, if you are having like your business is from like 2 3 years, you are on Shopify or in WordPress or WooCommerce anywhere, you want to redesign, then I think you should put some budget and design from scratch, because then you know who is your customer. You are already in business. You know the problem of the customers, and you already know what is working and what is not working. So, so you will be able to define a very clear web design strategy to the web designer or any agency, and what kind of problem you are having. So in that case, you should do design from scratch, because in that case all problems will be solved, and you can create a more better user experience. Later on, you need to test, and you need to measure, and you need to analyze the interaction of the user, and need to figure out what kind of problems they are still facing. This is the continuous process, optimizing the website. But for that, you should go with design from scratch in Shopify. And but if you are just starting out on Shopify, when having a physical store, having a business, and then a simple theme can work for you, because that is Shopify. You can get your store online very easily in a week or two, just choosing a theme, adding the products, adding copy, and everything. But for the custom design, you should go with a strategy, and you should know what is working and what is not working.
Okay, so a lot of time and resources go into really, designing your website from a branding standpoint, from a UI UX standpoint. It takes a lot of time, is what I've seen, especially sites that are like customized to meet both business goals and the brand. How often do you think brands should revise their store design, or what are the signs that a brand should look for that it's time for them to actually redesign their website or invest more heavily in their design aspect?
I think it depends. It depends to the brand, but there are some major things, and I think the one rule is to you should optimize your website each month or every 2 weeks or something like that. Anyhow, you do the analyzing of the user metrics, and how people are interacting with your website. So you should have heat maps and tool like Hotjar or Clarity in place. So you are recording how people are scrolling, and how they are interacting with the website. So you know the hurdles and the friction they are facing. So you should remove that every month, or like we do that every month actually. There are some brands we are working with. We do this monthly conversion report, or the audit report, conversion audit report, where we create a audit report for the whole month, like how people are interacting with the new functionality, how they are interacting with the new design page or to the product page, or what kind of things that they are facing we need to remove, and what can work better. So I think this is a continuous process, but for the brands, for the smaller brands or brands who are having a fixed design, they are getting a lot of conversion. A lot, if they are getting a lot of conversion, then they don't need to. But yeah, always you need to improve. So for that, in that case, you should check your website speed, because when we add more products, when we add description, when we add images, when we change anything, or any kind of functionality that we implement, like subscription, like upsell, cross sell, Ajax card, anything, that will automatically impact your website speed. So you should always check your website speed. If that is lower, then you need to optimize it. Other than that, there are factors like website should be very responsive and mobile centric, because 70-80% users are coming from the mobile only. And if you see the metrics in 2022, 70% of the e-commerce revenue is from mobile only. So that's why it's important. The website should be mobile responsive, and other things are like you should go with the design trend. If you are not following the standard pattern of the web design, then you should optimize the website again. And if you wanna ask me the timeline, like how much time you should have one design, and later on you should change it. So I think at least 6 to 7 months. After that, you should change the whole pattern. It can benefit to the mid price mid enterprises, but for the bigger enterprises it can hard, because they already have a pattern where people are interacting with the website in the same way, and if they just change it, then people get lost. So for them, I don't recommend that. But for the mid enterprises and small enterprises, I recommend that to change it to 6 to 7 months or after a year to the whole. You need to do the whole website conversion audit or a UX audit. You should perform the UX audit. Then you will be able to know like when you should change. But these are the main factors you should be updated on that.
You mentioned conducting a conversion audit to really understand what's working, what's not working. Let's assume I wanted to evaluate my website design right now. What are the 5 to 6 metrics that I should be looking at to understand? Like Hotjar will definitely give me insights into how people are interacting with my site after they've like landed on my site. What are some of the key metrics that I should be like, kind of measuring to see if the web design that or the optimizations that I've made are paying off?
Yeah, so for that, actually, the main thing that we analyze is the product page interaction. Now, how they are interacting with the product itself, and what is the important, the best sellers that you have. So in that case, the metric is to how, how the cold audience, how much they are engaging with the website, with the page itself, and call to action. That is also important. Offer should be very clear. If people are confusing with the offer, then you should take a look on that, and you need to clarify that as well. In the terms of metrics that you should look upon is the engagement on home and product page, and how they are interacting with the blog and content, description, and the reviews. Because if you are having a brand and if you have a good retention rate of the customer, then they should engage with your blog content as well, the other content pages that you are producing, newsletter, and all. So that kind of metrics also helpful to retain more customers and put it on later on subscription model too. So yeah, these are the important things.
You briefly mentioned that following design trends is important. So, from an e-commerce standpoint, what are some of the trends that you're just seeing the industry catch up with?
Uh, I think right now new brutalism is there.
Hmm.
Everybody's putting their button shadows in #00060 in the hard brutal colors. So brutalism is there, and if you know cred is also following the same design pattern, which is neo brutalism. But I think for the brands, still less is still more. The minimalism, the minimalistic approach to the design is very important because people don't want to read a lot of stuff. But in e-commerce, in the terms of functionality, I think augmented reality would be the next thing, and still a lot of stores are already having that in their product page and home pages actually. But that is for the bigger brands. Smaller brands, they can have the functionality of 3D product, 360-degree product visuals and all. But in terms of functionality, augmented reality is the next thing. I'm also working on it actually, and Shopify is also implementing that through Hydrogen, and that is the very easy possibility with that. But in terms of design trend, I think two are the things, the neo brutalism, but we are not implementing it to any brand right now because because that is the whole overall trend for the design, not just for the e-commerce. And you should follow. I the design trend. I mean to say in that case is to the standard pattern of the designs that people are following currently. It doesn't mean you will follow the same trend which is going through right now. Like you can't. implement a brutalism to any brand. Like, if there is a jewelry brand, you can't put that there in that case. So I think minimalism, that can be followed up with any brand, and that is possible because right now we are designing a dog brand, we are designing a jewelry brand, some other categories like in lifestyle industry, we have a hoodie clothing brand and some streetwear too. So we have implemented this across all type of brands, and I think that is good. That will sustain for a longer term.
So, what are five brands on top of your mind, like who are doing a fantastic job with their web design, the usability of the website, and of course their marketing efforts? Any five brands?
Yeah. Yeah, so I think when we were designing one hoodie brand, then I saw the hoodie. The hoodie is really great. They are doing great in terms of design and the look and feel of the brand that they have. Uh, Other than that, there are brands. Gymshark, I really love their design and very to the point, and you will never lost there. Actually, you will find what you are looking for instantly in just 2-3 seconds. So that is really good. And other than that, I think uh, we have implemented some of the things on Orphic Nutrition, which is from some great nutrition brand. I don't remember the name actually. That brand is also doing great. I don't remember the name actually. Uh, Other than that, uh, in CBD industry, there is M factory outlet that we have implemented. That is also good, but that is not into top brands and all. So yeah, I think these are some of the brands. There are many brands, but I don't recall them right now. They are in many other industries. Yeah.
Got it. No, that serves as a good list to bring the episode to a slow close. As an e-commerce expert, right, in web design and conversions, if there is somebody who's just starting out their online store, is just setting up their online store or their web design, what is that one tip or that one hack that you would recommend they follow from the very beginning?
Yeah. Um, I always recommend to use a theme if you are just starting out, and keep it simple, stupid. I would say it is very simple. It should be very simple, and other than that, you should focus on user rather than your own branding mainly, because the first thing is the user. So it's just starting out, then these are the 2-3 things you should keep in mind. You can choose a theme, a very simple theme, just go with it, and have a very clear call to action and an offer on the product page, uh, and focus on the problem which user is facing rather than the branding you want to make implementation on the store. So I think that is more important.
Well, that is all I had to ask of you today, Vishal. This was a really insightful session. Thank you so much for taking out the time today.
Thanks. Thank you so much for having me. It was my pleasure to be on this podcast. Anushka. Thanks.